Live from the Moscone Convention Center in San Francisco, California, it's theCUBE at Oracle OpenWorld 2014. Brought to you by headline sponsor Cisco Systems, with support from NetApp. And now, here are your hosts, John Furrier and Jeff Frick.
Okay, welcome back everyone. We're here live. This is theCUBE, live in San Francisco at Oracle OpenWorld 2014. It's our flagship program. We go out to the events and extract the signal from the noise. I'm John Furrier, the founder of SiliconANGLE Medium. Joe, my co-host Jeff Frick from theCUBE in Silicon Valley. Our next guest is John Kissane, Chief Strategy Officer and Head of the Cloud, GM of the Cloud Business at NetApp. Welcome back to theCUBE.
Great, it's good to be back, John.
Great to see you. So, Larry says cloud's big, so we'll take it at that.
I hear you.
Validated by Larry Ellison. But all kidding aside, cloud's been on NetApp's radar for a long, long time. We've talked in the past, we've done multiple interviews. Where are we with cloud, with NetApp, in context to the landscape? Because, I could be a Red Stack customer, but I still need to store stuff, and I might not want to buy into Oracle. I might just, so what's, so you guys are playing in a lot of Oracle accounts, being a leader, you guys are in storage, but what's the cloud play? How does that tie in? What's the NetApp strategy?
Yeah, so I mean, at NetApp, we're excited about the private cloud, the hybrid cloud, and the public cloud, and we play in all three, and we think we're excited to have folks like Oracle coming along on that journey, and we want to be there to help our customers deliver the highest business value with their data and storage, regardless of whether it's in the private cloud, public cloud, or hybrid cloud world.
So what does hybrid cloud mean to you guys?
For hybrid cloud to us means that people have options and choice to keep workloads on-premise or a mix of them with things that are outside their data center. So a key example of that would be our NetApp private storage offering. We've announced that with AWS, we've announced that with Azure. We're out there to help people have choices around a whole set of cloud service providers. And that really ties into, well, our open approach to intercloud with Cisco. Cisco being a big sponsor of this event here at Oracle OpenWorld, we're really fond of Cisco, they're a strong partner of ours. We've done a number of things with them that again embrace this hybrid cloud world for public, private, and hybrid, and intercloud is a capstone of that.
So talk about intercloud. What's your role in intercloud?
So we've been at intercloud from the start with Cisco. They announced this week probably about 24 new partners to join the club, of those offering an open approach to public and private cloud computing and storage and networking and data management. And we're proud to have folks like Red Hat join that club, but Cisco's provided a lot of leadership to again allow enterprises and service providers to best meet business needs.
So it's not like you guys can do 1 million IOPS or anything, is it?
Well, funny you should ask, because you're a great front man for our private cloud offering here.
Everyone that's come on has had a button on it that says,
$1 million IOPS.
Ask me about my million IOPS.
Well, that's again with Cisco, right? That's
explain the 1 million IOPS and why that's important. Sounds like an low number. I was going to say billion IOPS.
Yeah, well,
billions.
We've got other offerings that have come out this week with billions in them, but let me start with the 1 million IOPS. With FlexPod Select, which is done jointly with Cisco, NetApp, and in this case, for the high performance Oracle rack, we enable people to take advantage of very high performance storage and IOPS at 1 million IOPS level, which gives people high assurance that their database is going to be performing at the utmost performance level. Whether that's in a private cloud where they can deploy it themselves, it's based on our EF550 architecture, or in the public cloud with other deployments. But that's a real key high performance.
Put that in context of some of the other IOPS numbers I've heard. I don't actually remember off the top of my head, but I remember Fusion IO was throwing IOPS around. A lot of the flash vendors were throwing IOPS around. Was it 1 million? What were they talking about? Is there a specific use case?
Different people use different use cases in different specs. What I would focus on is that 1 million is very much a significant, screaming fast number for those high performance workloads that require low latency and high performance. And there's a full mix of service level objectives that people want from their storage and data management provider. That is one end of the spectrum where we provide a screaming offering. But we have a whole set of other offerings based on cluster data ONTAP, E-Series, and I'd lead into, we've announced something called StorageGrid Web Scale, which offers up in the billions, in fact over 100 billion object capacity for people to have a global container to have access and leverage all their object-oriented storage needs.
So is that like a software-defined piece of equipment? What is that storage
Yeah, it's
grid?
a software-based offering that can be coupled with third-party hardware, or again, our E-Series offering, provide people with great access to an extreme amount of content in a variety of objects, and then access it based on policies. And that's what makes it more enterprise class as far as object storage offerings go. The storage grid for web scale has 100 billion objects it can scale out to in multiple data centers in a global container space and still provide enterprise caliber policy controls.
Okay, so John, I got to ask you, so let's just say CIOs are watching out there, what's the strategy for NetApp? Explain to them the overall company strategy and be specific in terms of like the kinds of things you're betting on. Maybe it's object store, you think, and why those bets and why that technology bet is going to be important for you.
Okay, so as far as our strategy, the number one thing for people to take away is that we want them to have choice about how far and how fast they embrace the cloud. Whether they want to build out their private cloud, a hybrid cloud, or go all the way to public cloud, NetApp wants to be the partner of choice, the teammate they can count on to win as far as making their business more successful with their data. That's the bottom line. If you
Very
look at,
data specific.
it's all around their data and being able to make them successful. Now when we look at that, on-premise, you have choices between cluster data ONTAP and our FAS offerings. You have choices among our storage grid offering for object storage. You have offerings based on E-Series and Flash that help them get to the highest performance workload requirements. So we offer a full set of service level objectives to meet their business, price point, and capacity needs. That is the key.
Okay, how about the cloud? What's the cloud strategy?
Well, the cloud strategy, as I said, is again to give people choice about private cloud, hybrid cloud, and public cloud. And we've been able to work collectively with folks like Cisco, with OpenStack, and an ecosystem of cloud service providers like Azure and Amazon, Verizon, among others. We've got over 275 service provider partners running services on cluster data ONTAP and other NetApp technologies. The key is to make it easy as possible for enterprises and service providers to deliver the data to the point that's most valuable.
You know, I talked to Tom George, I had to sit down with him, and one of the things he said was, we listen to our customers, so, and which is cool, I love that. And he's sincere about that, by the way. He's just not saying it. And he's also a geek, so he actually thinks about the engineering involved. But I got to ask you, you guys seem to do very well as an interoperable among different environments. You mentioned Azure, AWS, now you're here at Oracle. Is that going to be a continuation of the strategy? I know it sounds like these answers yes, but be specific on why, what technologies each one of those environments has that you're going to work with and interoperate with.
Well, we're
assuming the customers are going to want that choice.
Yeah, so we do listen to our customers, and customers want to match their business needs with their storage and data management, and that's the whole key, matching their business needs to storage and data management. To do that, we partner with a very open ecosystem to allow them to best achieve their business objectives. With Cisco, we have great success around FlexPod and the intercloud offerings for both private and public cloud. With Oracle, we've matched up against their database and deliver some of the highest performance in the industry based on FlexPod, as well as our all-flash array offerings. And as far as other partners like Azure and at Microsoft and AWS and Amazon, we're giving customers the ability to manage a whole number of workloads that they couldn't do just on-premise before. I can give you a few examples.
Yeah, that'd be great.
One, they can burst to the cloud. They can own their controllers and own their data, but they can burst to the cloud for compute. That means if there's seasonality or unforeseen workloads or new releases, they could take advantage of that compute burstability. Another area is they might want backup and recovery to have a geographic diversity. They might want to have advantages of having a data center with Amazon in the Pacific Northwest by having their primary data center maybe somewhere in the southeast of the United States. They might be able to want to serve globally, so they'll take advantage of data centers in Singapore, or in Japan, or in Australia, or in the UK, with partners of ours like Equinix that provide that ability to have burstability to compute, but control one storage. So that's really important.
Okay, so we're here at Oracle OpenWorld, so obviously Oracle is getting virtualized at the database tier. You're hearing that. Certainly that's a discussion, although Larry didn't want that to be known years ago, but he didn't want it to happen on VMware mainly, but now it's happening with OVM and other things, so that's happening. What do you say to your customers when you talk to them here? NetApp's here, Oracle's trotting out some storage. I mean, certainly EMC's not here. That's for the first time in 18 years, so What do you say? I mean, how do you fit in? I mean, help us understand the strategy. Is Oracle going to roll over NetApp and compete and say, hey, soon you're going to be not coming to the show?
I think we're differentiated in the marketplace, right? Our storage and data managing capabilities, which is software-based, is hands down the best in the industry. And so we see a number of people who want to embrace that offering and take it further, and we're open to that. But we've extended our software and its capabilities to embrace things like Oracle and the database world to enable snapshots, mirroring, disaster recovery, and record response times. By using our technologies in conjunction with Oracle, customers get better results.
Yeah, we were talking to Jim McHugh earlier. We're old timers in the industry compared to a lot of the young guns coming up now, but the thing is that we're always debating, we're debating off camera, Jeff, we were too earlier. At what point do you, as a customer, say, when is enough being locked into one vendor? So, I don't think we've got that debate yet because we haven't found that tipping point yet. So okay, I love engineered systems, I love integrated stacks. We're seeing FlexPod, vBlock, you're seeing Amazon with integrated stack, with Elastic Beanstalk and all the goodness in the cloud, for instance. Yeah. So I'm a big fan, don't get me wrong. I think there's some really good purpose-built engineering that can get done within scope of a vendor. But at some point, when do you say, whoa, I don't want to get locked into Oracle? So interesting, here's NetApp.
Yeah,
so,
well we want to provide people choice. And so, we help them avoid vendor lock-in on a number of different levels. We work with all sorts of compute partners, we work with all sorts of networking partners, we work with all sorts of application providers, all sorts of databases, and the same will continue for the cloud. The key is we allow people to move their data and storage needs among multiple vendors in the cloud, whether it's Azure, with Microsoft, whether it's AWS with Amazon, whether it's traditional telcos like Verizon, AT&T, Orange Business Services, Deutsche Telekom, NTT. All those players realize that by partnering with NetApp, more data from the enterprise will come and enjoy the benefits of the cloud.
So I had a quote from on the Cube, our other Cube at the QLogic booth, where Dave and Stu were interviewing Mike Workman, SVP of Oracle Storage. You probably know who he is. He's quote, you don't need to build, talking to customers, his customers, you don't need to build islands of storage again. Now, I mean,
we agree with that.
I mean, what does he mean by that? And what is an island of storage? I mean,
I'm not familiar with an island of storage, but I'll share with you this. If you go with NetApp, you have a high confidence that you'll be able to move your workloads wherever you want them to deliver the highest business value. And you can do that today, whether it's on the cloud with NetApp Private Storage and future software offerings that are cloud-oriented. You can do that today with partners like Equinix. You can do that in your own data center, whether it's on a FlexPod format or in a traditional FAS array. We allow people to move that, and there is no island with working with NetApp because the media can be hard disk, flash, all flash, or even the cloud as the media. So we allow that portability of data so people aren't stuck on an island.
So NetApp's a very savvy company internally, very engineering oriented. What's the buzz internally amongst the engineers? Because everyone's always questioning, we should be doing this, we should be doing this, we need more buzz, we need more better products. There's always something that needs to get done. We can count on a technical organization to point out stuff that needs to get done. But what's the buzz? I mean, what are they happy with? What are people wanting to see faster, go faster?
I'll tell you, the engineering teams today at NetApp are happier than they've ever been. They are elated. Because if you look at the pipeline of technology and innovation that we've delivered over the last couple of years, it's a landmark, not only in NetApp terms, but in history terms. With cluster data ONTAP for scale-out storage, with non-disruptive operations, secure multi-tenancy, that's all cloud all the time. We also offer then the FlexPod offering, which is huge in the marketplace, having great double-digit growth. And then we're seeing other things like Storage Grid and all-flash arrays take the marketplace by storm. There is a full set of offerings that are both private cloud, public cloud, and hybrid cloud oriented that allow people to achieve their business objectives.
Do you guys get frustrated, like, Pure Storage is getting all the buzz, and all these other startups overvalued? I mean, do people get fired up? Or is it,
We're all savvy in the Valley, and we know that with highlights from folks like Mark Andreessen and others that are noting there's ebbs and flows in the valuation of Silicon Valley, and there's a far more people today employed by non-profitable firms than there have been in a decade or more. we believe NetApp has continued to deliver high value, strong revenue and market share gains. In fact, we've delivered 7 out of the last 8 quarters strong market share gains, and at the same time have some of the highest gross margins in our history. So with record market share gains and strong gross margins and profitability, we think we're going to be able to be one of the winners in the continued chapters of storage and data management.
It's funny you mentioned Mark Andreessen's last crowd storm or Twitter storm about the valuations, but mainly about the office space that Bill Gurley kicked off the debate on the Wall Street Journal last week. Jeff, I don't know if you saw the story, but essentially, I mean, $10 a square foot, 10-year lease, it's out of control, and these companies are spending money like drunken sailors, and it's like they have no business model. And not even a leader in their categories. But some are, maybe overfunded because there's a big kind of secondary market developing, but there's no profitability in line. And the companies that go public, look at Fusion.io, they had to sell to SanDisk. So, I mean,
going public is just a milestone, but it's not a victory lap.
Yeah, but you have a trading market. So what's going on in the public market, this comes back to your point about performance, right? On the financial and the business model side. You guys have done that technically with the business model. Fusion.io and even Violin is kind of sideways. You're looking at that, you're going, okay, that's a public valuation. That's a real valuation marketplace. People are voting with large volumes of shares, not 3 investors. Right. Or pumping up
well, if we look where those folks have gone, right, the declines in their market performance have been significant. They're trading lower than they traded in their last venture capital round. So, there's startups are out there, they'll be part of the Valley, but 9 out of the 10 usually fail. Yeah, and NetApp is going to be a long-standing player.
And you guys are savvy in the Valley. You guys are a very successful Silicon Valley company, and you guys know that. A lot of our friends are moving around these companies. So what I don't understand, and maybe you can share this with me, how do people get paid? What's the option program when your company's $3 billion private valuation? I mean, do you get stock options?
I'm sure they probably have a mix. You can ask
them. You can't answer
I think that our value proposition is we're certainly the ones that we believe offer the highest value to our customers, our partners, to our employees, and our shareholders, and we're going to continue to drive to meet those constituencies.
You guys have been a very big Silicon Valley success, funded by Sequoia Capital, went public, and just continuing innovative. You guys have been a very impressive company to work with. I've been following you guys, big fan of NetApp, certainly in Sunnyvale. Great campus, I think. You guys always win the High Quality to Work Awards every year. I think there's an award that goes out every year, like best place to work.
I think we've been in the last dozen years in the top 50 places to work consistently.
Well, John, thanks for coming on theCUBE, really appreciate it. I'll give you the final word. Share with the folks on your own mind what you're most excited about NetApp, the market here, and here at Oracle OpenWorld.
I'm excited because we have a strong portfolio for the cloud. We allow mobile data management across all the media of the cloud, and we're going to still be a #1 player in terms of cloud for our customers and enterprise and service providers.
All right, NetApp's fired up in theCUBE. Great interview, a lot of energy, love the energy. We need that energy boost here in the last hours, Jeff. This is theCUBE, we'll be right back after this short break, live here inside the Cisco booth at Oracle OpenWorld. This is theCUBE. I'm John Furrier with Jeff Frick. We'll be right back after this short break.